Well, our team is in for a self-inflicted ass-kicking after barely managing to take on Falconer. Still, I kinda wanna make a point while at the same time have an excuse to go to Pokemon Stadium 2 periodically in this playthrough. Hold on, just need to double-check the differences between Prime Cup here and everything goes. Barely any differences in the rules, as far as I can tell. I suppose the tag battle idea was nice, but I wouldn't know if it worked, since growing up there wasn't anybody available to do multiplayer Pokemon with. And of course, double battles didn't start to be a thing until the 3rd generation. We'll stick with this style of battle for all the little clashes after going through a gym. Yeah, just the level difference between my Gen 1 team and the Gen 2 teams tell you all you need to know. And if we could see the stat divide between the teams, I'm sure it would look even more one-sided against Chris. Apparently, we can't do anything to change the character that's going to be a placeholder for Player 2. Just like we can't change the image for the player character. Annoying, but not much we can do about that. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the only good kind of choices here for our first Pokemon out of this match are Gramash and Stuart. Not that they're likely to do much of anything, since neither of them has anything that's super effective against anyone on the other side at this point.
A hot battle involving the hopeful champs of tomorrow has just started.
Well, at least we're starting off at the same level here, but considering how much of a heavy hitter Mig was in the previous generation's run, this isn't looking good for Stuart.
What's the opening gambit? A light hit.
A light hit that pretty much defines how this first bit is gonna go. We're doomed simply because we're slower than the bird attacking us. At best, we're just weakening him for someone else on our team to finish him off, and that's not great in a 6-on-6 match where the other side has higher level Pokemon than us on average.
Sparks are flying from both competitors. What's this?
It's the same attack as before! You shouldn't ask, what's this, when the combatants only have one attack move each.
Both combatants appear to be exhausted.
Right. You gave it a good try there, Stuart. Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of options this early on.
What Pokemon will appear next?
Certainly not Flender. He'd do little to no damage against Mig at this level. Lurker and Venus would be absolutely eaten alive, and Uzumaki would be doomed the moment Phyllis shows up.
The Pokemon have been chosen. Oh, it's Poliwag!
I guess Uzumaki is showing up, even though they have the perfect counter, with Phyllis still waiting in the ring. And again, Uzumaki surprises me with his speed.
Yes, it's a hit.
I would have liked to have gotten a critical back when Stuart was still out. Congratulations on your 3rd win there, Uzumaki. You're getting closer to becoming an ace.
Oh, it's Bulbasaur.
And what a goddamn surprise. They sent the grass type to fight against the water type. A Pokemon with a legacy of 176.5 wins from the 1st generation, with a type and 2 level advantage in this particular encounter. And it's not like there's anyone great to switch out to. This is gonna be rough.
They're eyeing each other warily.
Well, that's putting it mildly. I'm sure Uzumaki is questioning why his trainer put him into the hopeless situation here, because this absolutely didn't have to happen. Other people going through the 2nd generation don't go through the interesting, if annoying, insanity that lets them fight their own team from the 1st generation. And considering none of the later generations have a Pokemon Stadium or similar game to link to, there's no way this could ever possibly be a tradition of mine in the Pokemon franchise. Still, I had the save files and hadn't deleted them, so I may as well use them for some unique stuff in this playthrough.
That inflicted some damage.
Yeah, being resistant to grass moves really doesn't help us here, since he's got normal and grass moves. Nobody in our Generation 2 team has 2 types and attacks to work with. That is a very big feature for a lot of the red team, with the exceptions of Mig and Nim, if I remember right. Which means that the Generation 1 team has a lot more versatility for the post-Gym 1 fight, as if the extra levels weren't enough of an edge. I'm not saying that Generation 1 is better because the Pokemon there are better, just that for the early game it feels like we had a lot more to work with in terms of offense once we were done dealing with Brock. And it's not like Bulbasaur was the offense-oriented starter. Sorry, Flender, you hanging on like that is not going to change things for the team in any way.
But the other one looks tired.
Tired, nothing. Triss is getting emotionally wrecked as she has little choice but to watch her team get completely dismantled here. All due to some time-traveling jackass called Jack. Still, considering the number of one-sided battles we're probably going to have in our favor later on in this LB, being on the receiving end of that kind of beatdown is actually a bit of a novelty. This frustration that we have no chance of victory, but have to fight at this point anyway. The knowledge that nothing we've got is going to change how absolutely screwed we are. How many trainers in your average Pokemon journey actually feel that? How many forgettable nobodies is Chris going to rip through over the course of her journey? And will this early humbling do anything to make her more empathetic to them? It's hard for me to say, but at this point, I feel like the idea could have been worse. But it still isn't quite going the way I was expecting when I first thought it up. I was hoping for Chris to manage to take down at least 3 of Jack's team. But she'll be lucky to beat 2 at this rate. Sorry about that, girl. Dramash's type advantage means nothing here without a fire move. And Phyllis is both too tanky and too hard-hitting with tackle for us to get the upper hand here. Not unless we get a very lucky critical in our favor.
A light hit.
Light hits add up fast when you're this low level. Bloody hell.
There's the attack. A light pass. A hot battle is unfolding.
It would be a lot hotter if our fire type could actually spit fire here. I possibly should have started spreading that smoke screen earlier, but again, I don't typically think of doing stat-affecting moves. Maybe I should have taught someone on the team Mudslap the very move we just received from Falkner before we started this.
There's a big difference in the number of Pokemon remaining.
And all 3 only have attacks that are ineffective against grass types, as if the level disadvantage isn't bad enough.
Pokemon is ready. Oh, it's Bellsprout!
Yet another member of the team that's probably going to be tackled to oblivion. How much of this is my fault, and how much of it is Generation 1's fault for prompting this kind of team lineup and growth for the first gym? Because, dear God, this is so much rougher than what we've got available for 2. And yeah, Venus only managed to take down 1 HP with a move that should have been at least a little enhanced because Venus is the same type as her attack. Seriously, just how many different ways can we be screwed in the same fight? It's a lot easier for a Bulbasaur to be tough than a Bellsprout, that's for sure.
A light hit. It increased its special attack power.
I really doubt that's actually going to make things lean any more in our favor, but hey, we're backed against a wall here. And to be fair, I do like to feel some measure of tension when I'm fighting in this game. Or in really any game, really. And our stat increase didn't even increase our attack enough to bring down 2 health in a single shot. Oh, it'll take him down. It certainly took long enough considering the quality of opponent Venus has here. Who's the next unlucky victim?
Difference in the number of remaining Pokemon for each side.
Oh, really? I somehow didn't notice.
Oh, it's Spinarak.
Will Poison Sting do more damage
One
than
Pokemon
Vine Whip?
is still capable of going up, but the other one looks tired. How's that? The hit glanced right off. What now? A light hit.
Oh, now we get a critical. At least Lurker seems to be a lucky one. That's got to be worth something, even if it's not going to win the battle as a whole.
There's the attack. A light pass. What's next?
And that brings Lurker up to 4 trainer Pokemon wins. I doubt we're going to get any more, given the way this match is going, but getting 2 from Red Team in our current state isn't bad. I hope Chris learned something from its experience, but I'm not too sure what the lesson is myself since I built both of these teams. Each one was meant to take on their region's first gym leader, while at the same time building up for later challenges. And I don't remember Red Team having all that much trouble against Brock, whereas Crystal Team barely managed to squeak a win against Falkner, despite me insulting him several times in comparison to Brock. And yeah, this early on, we do not have an answer for a Nidoran with Horn Attack.
There's only one Pokemon left to come up. The Pokemon appears with a cry. It's down to the last Pokemon now.
Well, Kawaku hasn't gained Ground type yet, so Bubble isn't going to have any special effect here. Still, we may as well go down swinging.
That did little damage.
I'm sorry, what? I know a Nidoran isn't weak to water, but I was really expecting more than that in terms of damage. And of course we took a critical hit because Arceus himself wants to end this massacre here. An impressive feat considering the Pokemon God hasn't even been invented by Game Freak just yet.
Now one more. Out of there.
Right, we're out of the stadium for a while after that one. I knew it would be rough before I even got to work on this in the first place, but I didn't expect it would be that much of a stomp. Still, at least it wasn't a totally clean sweep. Oh, screw you, Cal. You don't get to act so smug after that win. You didn't train any of the Pokemon on that team. Jack did. And I was controlling Jack when he was doing it. Thankfully, Chris has the drive to keep moving forward despite that ass-kicking. Though I'll be damned if I know what's driving her here. Please don't tell me she has the ever-classic dream of being the best like no one ever was. That's a rather doomed endeavor considering who she has watching over her journey. Because I damn well know that I'm middling at best, and I doubt that anybody I control in this kind of journey is going to be better than me. Anyway, now we're finally walking into Sprout Tower. I probably should have done that before fighting against Falkner earlier. Ah well, at least I'm sure we're good enough to crush whatever happens to be in here. I'm not really an engineer of any kind, but I'm pretty sure a massive pillar constantly swaying like a blade of grass in a breeze is not structurally stable. But hey, some people go out of their way to make some really odd-looking buildings. I'm pretty sure there's possibly some construction materials that allow them to get away with that kind of gimmick. Though, in this particular instance, I assume it's a fantasy material. On second thought, it might not be a great idea to have a Bellsprout fighting against other Bellsprouts in the Bellsprout Tower. It would actually look kind of pathetic to watch. Well, of course it will. It's not like you're pulling out the heavy hitters at this point. A Bellsprout has no chance of ever doing anywhere near the kind of damage that a Gyarados could to a structure. Though I will grant you, I respect Victory Bell a lot. And that's the final evolution of the Bellsprout's line. Wait, level 3? That's hilariously weaker than even the weakest of the trainers in the gym! I'm definitely doing this in the wrong order. Well, that means that Venus and Flender should have a chance to add to their kill counts. Hell, Venus isn't even on the board yet. And that makes 2 for Flender so far. I really seem to have a thing for Pokemon that start off weak and become stronger with the time, that's for sure. Zubat, Abra, Magikarp, Bellsprout, and I'm sure there are others I can't think of at the moment. I suppose you could also say the same for Ghastly when I'm thinking that way. Still, as annoying as it is to deal with the lower level, practically helpless versions of them, they each can evolve into some damn solid fighters. So the sooner we can get Flender and Venus to evolve, the better off we'll be. Still, I'm not going to pull anything to evolve any of our Pokemon before they did naturally be able to. That isn't the measure of a good trainer, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because of our rough time against Falkner's overly young Pidgeotto. Anyway, now that makes 3 for Flender. Will he make it to Ace status before he levels up to 10? They're certainly making it easy by sending nothing but Bellsprouts at us. Lower level Bellsprouts than you would find in the wild. It's actually pretty insulting in its own right since they claim they've been training here in Bellsprout Tower. And this is supposed to be a pretty major location in this town. It's hard to feel like it's a place to really test your Pokemon. Though I suppose every fight is a way to grow, even when it's an easy stomp in your favor. Dear God, I am just showing very little respect for our opponents, even in the same damn place where I got my ass kicked by, well, me, essentially. And that makes 4 for Flender. I really have to figure out what's wrong with my attitude. I know I'm not an amazing trainer. I can sympathize to some degree with trainers who have little chance against what I've got at the time. But if they can't make a fight of it, I just feel myself getting more and more dismissive of them. And it's hard not to get dismissive of the sort of guys we've been running into here in Bellsprout Tower. It's an unfortunate but hopefully understandable mentality, and I hope that both Jack and Chris did not inherit that from me in their respective journeys. Anyway, back to the Pokemon Center to at the very least replenish Flender's small attack ammo. And great. Now I'm thinking of replacing a member of the team for something else. That's certainly going to slow us down some more. I swear, I was much more decisive about my teammates in the first generation. Probably because I've gone through Kanto more than any other regions combined. Hell, all of them combined. Oh, right. Forgot about that for a little while. We needed an empty slot to include the egg. And until it hatches, we've got essentially a 5 Pokemon limit. And considering the quality of the Pokemon we've got right now, that's not great. Still, if the professor's relying on us, for whatever that's worth, since it's not like we've done all that much for him at this point, then we may as well do it. Anyway, that does it for this clip. Hope it was amusing for whatever that's worth.